What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Palantir, give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Palantir is down 5.37% today, 74.61 the low, 80.06 is the high. So a lot of volatility. A couple different attributing factors, what's causing some, disruption in Palantir today. Nothing really correlated with PR or anything like that. So you can kind of see last news that did come out was ultimately, it looks like December the 18th. So it's been kind of piggybacking off the broader market, but there's two things that did come out. One is this right here. So new analyst rating, initiated coverage, Morgan Stanley. This individual has a 49% success rating, so not all that great, but a sell $60 target. So of course, 60 isn't all that bad. If this would have been like 2-3 months ago, then yeah, that would have caused the stock price to go higher. But given where Palantir's price is at, that is seen as a little bit more downside in the foreseeable future. And I think in general, I've pointed this out in the past, analysts, you have polar opposites. You have a low of $11 and a high of 80. That was recently done by UBS. But like Wall Street generally has a hard time trying to put a appropriate multiple on innovative companies such as Palantir. So even for the foreseeable future, you most likely will see a lot of polar opposite analyst ratings. So in general, that's one thing that's really affecting it. And as well, if you want to think of it as a comical way, Jim Cramer kind of posted this on a Sunday. So working on a Sunday, brainstorm about buying Palantir and Tesla. So obviously inverse kind of Cramer scenario playing out as well. So I think both of those, as well as Palantir's technicals, are some of the biggest attributing factors why it is going down. As far as shorts, they are returning 330,000 shares. And this is why I like to analyze this type of information, because by shorts returning on this red day, kind of doesn't show it's justified. So that's just my opinion. Of course, you do whatever floats your boat, but shorts recently have started to get back in a little bit. So they do sense a little bit of blood, but went from roughly 3.5% short interest to a peak of 5%. Of course, I think at the same time, there is a lot of things happening with Palantir. It's ran up a lot, and you do have cost to borrow minimum being negative, meaning there is a broker out there physically paying people to short Palantir. So there is some manipulation that is happening. And I think largely throughout 2024 and now 2025, like it didn't really work all that much, but given where Palantir is at on a price level, I think maybe some individuals might be taking advantage of that broker, possibly, but 4.63% of the free float is being shorted. Just for transparency, Palantir is not a squeeze play. I'm just bringing this up more so for analysis purposes. But aside from that, 108 million in calls, 44 million in puts, 48% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. Of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be back at that $8 or even $81. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly $70 this week. So a little bit of a pushback. There is a lot of data points coming out this week that could really cause either a lot of stocks to go to the next leg up or potentially break it down a little bit further. And some of them are starting as early as tomorrow with jolt numbers. And then Wednesday, you have ADP employment, you have the FOMC minutes. Also on Friday, you have unemployment, non-farm payroll. So a lot of volatility in the foreseeable future. So clearly the bears are anticipating a lot of that, as well as Palantir's technicals to really be tested and for it to, like I said, be sub $70. But big money is still behind the scenes with Palantir and buying it up. You do have a lot of strings of selling, so you can kind of see right here there was a lot of selling, and that's what kind of pushed it down for the most part. So Palantir is just still getting a lot of attention from big money, so I think generally that's a good thing, but it's going to be a good couple quarters before analysts, Wall Street, and investors all can kind of coincide and agree on where Palantir should be at. Should it be at that $100 mark where a lot of individuals are assuming? Even myself, I brought up, I do realistically see roughly around that $95 range. But at the same time, you have ratings that are saying $28, $11, 44, 26. So polar opposites, like I said. But right now, with it at $75.90, it is trading between these 2 points, so this pivot and this S1. So 74.53 is going to be the next strong support, and conveniently did bounce off of that general area for the low today. 77.41, and then $80.30 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And this is why Palantir did go down so fast, is because of its technicals. So in general, once it did break below this pivot point right here, then that was kind of just going to be in temporary free fall. And so lo and behold, that's kind of what happened, all in all. But aside from everything that I kind of talked on, going over the actual technicals, so in general, today it is pulling back below the ALMA, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. That is sitting at $76.85. So you never know, by the end of today, you could see potentially it fighting back above that point right here. But I think in general, it's just in consolidation mode. One very important point to watch for is that super trend, which currently sitting at $68.31. I know it seems a little bit far out, but you never know, especially how fast Palantir has ran up. It could go down equally as fast in some cases. So definitely watch for that super trend, because if it does break below that, then you'll have algorithmic trading really working against Palantir. And so potentially that could cause a hell of a lot of disruption. But in my opinion, I think Palantir is a absolute beast. Wall Street just doesn't know necessarily how to justify the multiple, but I think in general, you're going to see higher highs once again, and that most likely will be as a byproduct of a lot of the data points that are coming out this week. And so that could really push it back into kind of the all-time high territory, and even as high as 95, which I do feel is realistic. Let me know your thoughts on Palantir. Do you think that obviously Jim Cramer is one of the attributing factors why it did go down, and why a lot of people might be on edge with Palantir? Got to give Jim Cramer some props though. He definitely knows how to kill momentum quite a lot in some other stocks and some other examples. So yeah, what is your viewpoint on that? And have you been buying? Have you been selling? Have you been kind of doing options? What's your overall just thoughts on Palantir? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.